As the room fill up, be sure to smash the like button. Let a friend or a neighbor know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. That's including the ice wall. Let's get it. Mama said there'll be days just like this. Life like this, I wish. Raindrops would fall. Cowboys rankings on offense and defense predictions, plus OTAs updates. Let's get it. Ain't no party like a cowboy party. But what about a Law Nation party? Hey, come on. Let me know if the audio's straight. Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on. What's good with you and you and you and all of you all that's tuning in? All right, so everybody have rankings. Everybody have their opinions on where the team should be at and will be at. And first and foremost, I would tell you, around this time, there will always be a sensationalism part of it. There will always be somebody is going to put a team where they don't belong or a player where they don't belong, and then they will say, hey, these are the truths. These are the reality. These are what this team did the following year, or this is what this team is accustomed to doing, etc. But it always one of those things, whereas time will tell it all, right? So on the Cowboys side of it, here's how it goes. Normally, the Cowboys side of it is, hey, the Cowboys will not make the playoffs. That's where they start, right? The Cowboys will not win more than 5 or 6 games. That's where they start. And then when we do that, then they kind of move the goalposts from there. The other part of it, and you guys seen it, if you guys understand it, it started off with before this particular quarterback, right? The other end of it was, hey, Tony Romo. And then before Tony Romo, it was still shades of the 90 high still being relevant, right? So when we say relevant, I don't want you guys to say that the Cowboys are not relevant. But what I'm saying is it wasn't that far removed. So it was still that the Jones family could do no wrong or no harm to this team, even though we had the Dave Campo of going 5-11, 5-11, 5-11. Fast forwarding to now, it's still the same. People still try to create news and sensationalism around the Cowboys, and they do a real good job of it during the offseason, ladies and gentlemen. There's no other way that you can look at it and say otherwise, right? So I said all of this to say, hey, enjoy the offseason and understand that everything that is put into place right now is for the talk. It's for the talk who's better and who's worse. And I'm going to tell you right now, my expectations, I want this team to be top 5 in offense and defense. I really do. And I really would love for our defense to be in the talks, in the conversations piece of being the number 1, number 2 defense. I really want us to also generate pressure, create turnovers, right? And stop the run. That's what I'm looking for this particular team to do such. And how do you do that? Well, an honest training camp will allow that. And we talked about battles last episode. I'm going to tell y'all right now, the battle should be may the best man win on the defensive side. And flat out, we already know Gilly, by him, just his presence alone. I talked about this earlier this morning. His presence alone will get the recognition. It's intimidating, right? Some people say, nah, it's not intimidating. Bull sugar. You know, when you have a guy that can put those clamps down, you know, you got a guy that can really solidify the middle of the field. Man, that goes a long way. And on top of that, that goes a long way with it being, hey, I can take away your number 1 wide receiver. or I can take away your number 2 wide receiver, depending on where he try to motion and line up at. And now you got this dude like this guy right here that's not going to allow those cheap yards, not going to allow those small things to come about. And that's why I say, man, with that 21, it look pretty fresh on him, right? You know, I know.
Sacrifice.
Fatality.
I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but, you know, but shout out to him. He's rocking it pretty well. All right, so there was some audio from 105.3 The Fan. They went over this article, and for sake of time, we're going to go right into it, and then I'm going to give you guys my thoughts about it. You know, is that okay with you all? Is that okay with you, and you? Yeah, let's go with it.
Colts, and then Mike Martz with the Rams. Super Bowl
and the Lions. Was he the head coach of the Lions, or was he just an OC?
I think he might have spent time. I mean, they went through a revolving door.
I just know him from the Rams.
Martz,
of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, he listed his top 5. They both listed their top 5 offenses and defenses for the upcoming season.
Just OC of the Lions.
Yeah. Martz, do you think he had the Cowboys on his offensive list for top 5?
Well, considering how he talked about Dak and the interceptions last year not being on Dak, and he thinks very highly of him, I think yes. I think he might have him in the top.
Appreciate
5.
y'all for jumping in.
No, because he's like he believes in the quarterback, but it doesn't sound like he believes in
McCarthy,
all the 10 other guys on the field with him. Everything was that interception's on the other guy. That interception's on the other guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would guess not though.
We got a yes and a no, right?
Yep.
Sure. Mike Martz, top 5 offenses in the National Football League.
Appreciate you, Patrice. Thank you for your support.
San Francisco, number 1.
Number 1 offense in the sport.
Wow.
With a question mark at quarterback.
Yeah, he loves.
I mean, he's not
Shanahan
going to have the Cowboys in the top 5 then.
He loves Sam Darnold.
Oh, does he?
That's the thing.
That's the flaw in his formula.
He loves Sam Darnold. That's why. He's got Kansas City, number 2. My Detroit Lions, number 3.
Okay.
Philadelphia Eagles, number 4. And number 5,
The Dallas Cowboys.
Buffalo.
Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
All right, so that's top 5 right there. So I'm looking at it like this, ladies and gentlemen. I really think that the Cowboys, even though we changed out their offensive coordinator, I think that we can really turn some heads on this offense, especially since we got Brandon Cooks. I truly do. I feel as if though when we start talking about offense in general and we start talking about the way this particular team moves and things like that, I really see that this offense can be where the Bills are at. I think that they can be really, really a top 5. One can argue if we just play the principles and things like that, because we didn't really lose out on a lot on the offensive side. One can say that we gained from the aspect of explosive weapons as far as Brandon Cooks. And, of course, we all will miss Ezekiel Elliott, right? And those 12 touchdowns, they are not cheap to come by. I would tell you guys that, first and foremost, the Dallas Cowboys, if they utilize 3 running backs and not fall in love with one, everything else will work its way out. Yeah, everything will work its way all the way out. With that being said, Cowboy Nation, it's not hard to really think about that. On top of that, let me switch over to the defensive side. You know, all of the fuss that a lot of people were talking about with Micah Parsons, X, Y, and Z, you know, they in fear that he's not going to show up to OTAs. He's going to try to practice somewhere else and gain all of his information. Well, at the voluntary OTA camp or what have you, he was there. I was telling people, don't worry about the small stuff, because the media, they will love to twist it and say, hey, man, this dude trying to independently do X, Y, and Z in the whole time. Parsons right there working. You know, Parsons flying in, working out with Tony Mack. Parsons right here down there in Austin, working out with the collectives. Parsons been working out tremendously, all this offseason. And then he said, organized team activity, I'll be there too. I love it. I love that mindset, and I love what this Cowboys team is bringing to the table. Yes, indeed. What's up, Law? DC for life. Yeah, 21 do looks dope. Yeah, it's a situation whereas I'm old school. I love the defense. Everybody know that I looked at 21 even when Ezekiel Elliott selected that number, which we wanted him to select another number. But that's a story of another day. I was like, man, 21 pretty much. I like it on the defensive side. But that's a whole nother angle of conversation there. Goofy Cowboy. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness, man. Joe Castro, Eagles content creators, was saying that they were mad that Jalen Hurts wasn't in the top 5. Well, I think that Jalen Hurts getting his coins, and he's getting his also praises from PFF. They got him the number 1 quarterback in the top 5 from Sam Monson. I think that when we look back at this and we would say, all right, is Jalen Hurts the number 1 NFC quarterback? You guys can put that in the chat, in the conversational line right there. They put Kirk Cousins above Dak Prescott. Last I checked, just like my guy Cowboys Fan Talk, Dak versus Cousins last year, 40-3. I think that Dak overall versus Cousins is like some crazy number, like 5-1 or something like that, or 6-1. It's some crazy number. But if they want to put Kirk Cousins, look, here's the beautiful thing about this, right? Regardless of where you're ranked at from PFF. Regardless of where you rank it, it doesn't mean that just because they put you at 1, that you're going to flat out win the Super Bowl from their rankings. I can literally, when I turn on Sirius Satellite Radio and watch and listen to all of those networks on the East Coast or what have you, all of them got the Jets going straight to the Super Bowl. All of them saying that now you finally, and they misleading everyone. They saying, oh, man, now you finally got Aaron Rodgers with a defense, with a 5th-ranked defense. And I'm sitting here like, bull sugar. Year before last, the Green Bay Packers was ranked 3rd in defense. No one was getting more takeaways than them. No one was forcing sacks and getting pressure. And he was one and done. The dude was back-to-back MVP. But I get it, right? It's always going to be that. Is it wee-woo? Always going to be that wee-woo analysis from them. So Stafford, he's 4. Y'all see it on the list. Derek Carr, he's 5, right? So put Dak right in the middle. But at the same time, when I look back at this list, Hurts never beaten Dak, right? He's 0-2, but that's a whole nother situation, head-to-head. So Kirk Cousins, I mean, come on. So people are going to have their rankings. People are going to have their thoughts. Look, they get mad at me. Look, some of the Eagles get mad at me for posting stuff that was, hey, what Devontae Smith said. He the one pointed out. He the one that pointed out where it hurts. And he was saying that basically it hurted because that turnover changed the face of the fortunes of that game in the Super Bowl. Trick says, and shout out to you and thank you for your support and donation. Hurts 1 is crazy. Kurt 2 is even worse. Yeah, it's not even close. Shout out to you. Kurt who? Cousins. But we got guys that I literally can tell you right now that this guy by the name of CeeDee Lamb, healthy quarterback would create healthy numbers for CeeDee Lamb as well as Brandon Cooks. So we're waiting for my guy CeeDee Lamb to be healthy. And he's been putting in extra work. You know how you have that extra assignment that you need to have turned in before the bell, right? He's doing all of that. And trust and believe CD will be that dude. But far as the defense, far as the defense, they went over it on 105.3 The Fan with an article. And I would tell you guys, we're ranked a little bit outside of the top 5. But I would tell you that I would want this defense to be top 5. Well, I want this defense to be ranked overall collectively within the top 10. Well, I'll settle for that. But overall, I want this defense, in my opinion, not saying where they are at or where they were at last year, but I will want them to be better. And there's 2 categories that they need to be better at. Defensive back, and we got better at that right now on face value or paper with Gilly, and interior stopping the run. I mean, we could generate pressure last year. We was getting to the quarterback last year. But we were not stopping the run with the power inside. So hopefully all of that can work its way out and get things going. Yes, indeed. Keep the same energy. Yes, indeed, man. But with that being said, I see the interactions is low, right? And I said, what I'm going to start doing now. I mean, we can let other people get on and y'all can talk to them. I really appreciate y'all so much. I got to bounce anyway. And I'll be back a little later on today. So be sure to hit that like, sharing is caring, and let a friend or a neighbor know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond.
Spartans!
Let's go.
Prepare
Peace.
for glory!
We up out. One love, baby.
Damn! Damn!